Welcome to this week's Deep Dive. So our mission today is a practical weekly briefing for your operations because that broad market softness we've all been enjoying, yeah, that's fading.
It really is. It's being replaced by this intense lane-level execution pressure.
Right. I like to think of your network kind of like a plumbing system right now. Like the whole house isn't flooding, but very specific joints are under incredible pressure and they're, ready to burst if you don't reinforce them.
That is a perfect way to look at it. And we need to look at exactly what is squeezing those joints this week, starting with a major event kicking off tomorrow.
You're talking about the CVSA International Road Check.
Exactly, running May 12th through the 14th. And inspectors are hyper-focused on ELDs, those are the electronic logging devices, and cargo securement.
So meaning any slight logbook error just puts a truck completely out of service.
Right out of service.
Yeah.
So that heavily exposes flatbed, open deck, and short lead freight this week. They are at incredibly high risk.
Okay, so RoadCheck shrinks the pool of available drivers right off the bat. But the drivers who are still out there are changing how they operate too. Mostly because of, fuel volatility.
Yeah, the fuel situation is making carriers absolutely ruthless about friction.
Wait, but if fuel is unpredictable and expensive, shouldn't carriers want to take, any load they can get just to keep the revenue flowing?
You would think so, but it's actually the exact opposite. Empty miles burn expensive diesel without paying for it. So if your freight involves, weak routing guides or facility dwell times above roughly 2 hours,
Yep, just won't take it.
they will straight up reject the load or they'll demand serious premiums. I call it the 120-minute death sentence.
Wow, 120-minute death sentence. That's brutal.
It is, and because carriers are avoiding that friction, they naturally gravitate toward the predictable stuff, which creates our third major issue, the regional produce squeeze.
Right, because reefer equipment is getting aggressively pulled in to produce sensitive markets, like out in California and the West Coast. But how does that actually impact your operations if you don't even ship produce?
Because it creates this massive capacity vacuum. When reefers rush to the West Coast, they abandon the dry van freight they usually haul in places like the Midwest.
Oh, I see. So that sucks traditional dry vans into those lanes to fill the gap.
Exactly, which artificially shrinks capacity and inflates your costs everywhere else.
Got it. So your regional exposure just spikes. This week, the specific danger zones for your network are the Southeast, where you really have to watch out for that dwell time and flatbed-heavy project corridors.
Right. And don't forget cross-border adjacent lanes. Those are critical for automotive and industrial. And because international gateways have unavoidable inspection scales, RoadCheck impacts them disproportionately.
Okay, so your team has to completely change how it handles dispatch right now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If a load is already moving within that 24 to 48-hour window, is it basically too late to avoid the pain?
Honestly, yes. Yeah. At that point, you're trapped. Waiting inside 48 hours right now forces you into really expensive same-day spot coverage.
So what should teams be doing instead?
You need a checklist today. First, confirm readiness. You have to verify ELD expectations, securement, equipment fit, and driver instructions before the truck is even dispatched.
Right, because if you wait until the truck is rolling, a sudden inspection delay is just a blown delivery.
Exactly. Second, extend your lead times. Push priority tender lead times to 3 to 5 days where your pickup windows allow. Confirm your secondary carriers early.
And what about those facilities with the 120-minute death sentence?
Triage them immediately. You have to reduce dwell at locations running over 2 hours. And finally, you need a modal shift strategy.
How does that work? Are we just moving freight to rail?
Pretty much. Move flexible, repeatable dry van freight into planned modal options, even if it adds a transit day. You do this to save your truckload capacity for the freight you absolutely must protect.
Like temperature-controlled, high-value, and strict appointment loads.
Exactly, because the decision window is still open today, but it slams shut once your freight moves inside that final 24 to 48 hours. After that, your options just disappear.
So time is your best leverage right now. I'll leave you with this to think about. If fuel volatility makes empty miles and dwell time the new absolute deal breakers, how much of your urgent freight could actually absorb an extra transit day? Stepping out of the spot market frenzy and avoiding the premium of a perfect appointment might be exactly the pressure relief your network needs.